Hey, welcome back. I'm Leslie.
And I'm Justin.
And we're here with Business and Tech for your future. Please smash the like button and the subscribe button and listen up for some shout outs from last week.
All right, guys. So a couple shout outs I want to give people that commented last week on the video we had. So that's Community Painters, Jonathan Potter, Destorius, Workflow, Dylan Gray, Brandon Walsalchin, Sandor, and Zymer Tracks. So we had a comment last week on a certification path that you can take for this IT tech field. So I want to kind of tell you guys that we're going to have a video on that in the next coming weeks coming up. But in the links below, I put some of the paths you can look at, some trainings to look at that you can do to kind of help with that I've kind of done. So please check those out, and we'll be checking those out in the next few videos and kind of go over those a little bit more. And you can comment on those, and we'll go over those a little bit more later.
We are so excited for you to meet our guest today. It is Linda Evans. She has her own career coaching service launched by Linda. We'll link that down below. Let me tell you a little bit about this very accomplished woman. She is a force to be reckoned with. Linda Evans is the full-time career director of over 2,200 Humanities and Social Sciences students at Brigham Young University. She graduated with her BA in American Studies and minor in Ballroom Dance from BYU and earned her MA in Psychological Counseling from Columbia University. Linda has an Advanced Diploma in Coaching from New York University and is a Gallup-Certified Strengths Coach. She has been growing her career coaching business, launched by Linda, since 2011. She was born in China, grew up in Seattle, came to Utah for college, lived in Washington, D.C., and New York City for graduate school, and moved back to Utah in 2017. So, without further ado, let's meet Linda Evans. Hi, Linda. How are you doing?
Great.
So good to have you. Thank you so much for coming today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Okay, we are so excited to ask you some questions, so we will just jump right into it. So, can you tell us a little bit about how you got where you're at today?
Well, that's a really loaded question, but I think it could be summed up in two main things. One is I've always followed my natural interests, whether they made sense or not career-wise, and I've always, since I became religious, I have partnered really closely with God to make decisions and find a way to overcome barriers and challenges.
That's beautiful. I love that.
All right, next question. I'll ask this one. So, was there a defining moment in your life that led you to the career you're in?
Yeah, actually there is. In my senior year of college, I worked as a summer camp counselor for multicultural students, and I discovered how much I loved mentoring younger students to become a better version of themselves or to reach their goals. And so that summer, I created a personal mission statement to guide the rest of my decisions, the rest of my life and my career. And ever since then, that was 2010, I've been trying to make all my decisions based on how they fulfill my personal mission statement.
Awesome. Why do you love what you do?
My two favorite parts of my job are teaching and career counseling. So I love the one-on-one where I can get to know a student or a client and help them to identify and articulate and then use their strengths, because most people really struggle with that. And then I also really love teaching because I love to collect information and figuring out how to creatively teach that to students in a way that engages them and sticks in their mind. So those are my two favorite parts.
Those are great skills, and I definitely have seen that even just in our more casual interactions, like even when you're teaching and sharing things with me. Yeah, I definitely see those things shine through.
All right.
I think naturally a natural student and natural teacher, and sometimes I have to hold back from coaching friends. Okay, you're not hiring me to coach you. I need to just be a friend, not a coach.
But I always want it. I've always been like, yes, please share with me. So yeah, I appreciate that.
All right, next question. Would you mind sharing some specific stories of how you help people get jobs so far, and how have you been able to help people be more successful?
Oh man, I'm really bad at remembering specific stories. I'm sorry about that. But I feel like generally I try to do four main things. Okay, one is to look for jobs that they are qualified for. I think one of the early mistakes people make in job searches is apply for things they're overly qualified for or way underqualified for. So find that sweet spot where they meet 70 to 80% of the job requirements. And then number two is to make sure that their documents are clean, updated, completed, professional looking, resumes and cover letters, and then also their online profile. That's way more important now than it has ever been. Number three, help them to network, to meet professionals in the field, to learn from other people and not just do things solo. And then number four, a lot of people don't come to me for this stage, but I feel like it's really important, which is how to present yourself in an interview and how to talk about your experience in easy to understand stories that are relevant for the job. So in all my interactions, I try to meet the client where they're at, meet the student where they're at, and overall help them to have clean documents, know how to network, and know how to interview for jobs that they are qualified for.
I feel like everything you just explained is what we are hoping to try and help people do as well, with a focus on business and tech. But yeah, I love all of those highlights. I feel like those things are what will propel people so fast.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I've known you for a while, and I feel like you have always been really focused, dedicated, kind of strict with yourself in a way about your routines. What do you think routine-wise has helped you to be more successful in life?
Routine-wise, well, I think the side you see of me, well, I guess that comes out a lot, is my obsession with efficiency and learning. I like to maximize the time that I have and the resources that I have. So some specific routines, I think I'm really a big advocate of self-care. And right now I've been meditating for about 6 weeks in a row. And that's a habit I'm trying to stick with. Other things, definitely like exercise regularly, try to get 8 hours of sleep. On the weekends, I binge and try to get like 10 hours of sleep, or 11 even. And I'm very spiritual, so I like to make sure that I stay in tune with God through prayer, go to church and reading scriptures. Also I keep a gratitude journal. That's one of my oldest habits, and it's a very calming and centering practice for me. Every night before bed, I write down at least 5 things that I'm grateful for that day, and it helps me to get in the mindset of looking for positive things throughout the day.
Sounds like a lot of those things just keep you very grounded.
Yeah, I think so. Otherwise, besides those regular self-care habits, I like to be open to opportunities that come up, which are very few and in between now, like with COVID, as in, oh, there's a concert that weekend, oh, there's a festival, or this person's having a party. Those things have all, temporarily disappeared. And so I'm able to focus more on my self-care routines.
I know one thing that you had mentioned, and I do love that. One thing, out of the catastrophe that's happening right now is that we have a little more downtime, but you mentioned that coming up, one opportunity that we'll link down below is a conference with a bunch of women who are really great leaders.
Yeah, I think that's the first year they're doing it, and it's actually my boss who asked if I wanted to be a part of that because she got invited, and it's called Aspire Her. It's a women's career conference, and it's all gone virtual now. It's on June 12th and 13th. And I think originally it was meant for just Utah women, but now it's, there's no limits because it's virtual. So in that conference, I'll be talking about tips for entrepreneurs and the skills that they should be developing.
I'm so excited for that. Definitely signing up for that one. Thanks for sharing that.
Okay, what are the top 3 pieces of advice or recommendations, etc., you have for people at this time?
During this pandemic, you mean?
Correct. Yeah, during this whole pandemic, what we're dealing with and everything like that.
Yeah, I think gratitude is really important because we all are panicking about how our lives have changed and what we're missing. But there's always things to be grateful for, and we should intentionally think about those things. Otherwise, it's easy to be pulled away by the news and, things that are confusing and chaotic around us. So number one, I would say gratitude. Number two is to take advantage of this time. I think this is a really important time for people to do some more self-reflection. Like, how do I feel about my life? How do I feel about my career? What do I want to improve on? What can I adjust to make my life the best it can be? And, without a lot of running around, distractions with social life or even our jobs where we're going to meetings and stuff, right now is a good time to slow down and do some introspection and self-assessment, which can be a scary time. So maybe this time is the time to find a coach or a mentor, or just to call up good friends. You said 3 things. So let me think. Okay, so it's also important to watch out for your health. I think a lot of people are in the mindset of like, screw it, I'm just gonna, eat junk food all day and stay in my PJs, which could be relaxing for a bit, but if it's all day, every day, it can really get us feeling depressed when we're not moving as much or eating as well. So health, gratitude, introspection time.
I'm a huge advocate of that as well. I'm a 6th grade teacher full-time, and I think every class I've ever taught, they all know that I really want them to do well in school, but also I want them to be healthy, like through exercise and through healthy eating. And I'm not always perfect at it, but I do feel like that makes a huge difference, mentally as well as physically and emotionally. So great advice there.
We need to not be perfectionistic about it, because otherwise we get discouraged easily and we fail. We feel like failures, and then we give up, and that keeps us from progressing in the future. So giving ourselves some wiggle room, but generally trying to be healthy,
Absolutely. Great advice there.